right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new edition of Pod by the Bay, proudly presented by Homefield Apparel. Make sure you go to homefieldapparel.com, use our code BAE25 for 15% off your first order. The holiday season is literally right around the corner. There's a Christmas tree in Seth's room. That's one of 48, I believe, in his house right now.
That's actually 3 Christmas trees.
Oh,
you can tell by they all have a hat
on top.
They all have a hat topping them, if you can see. And then there's another one.
Phenomenal
there's another
stuff.
one here. So yeah.
Love that. So make sure you use the code BAE25 for 15% off the first order, or use the affiliate link in the podcast description below to help us out. You know, we were going to send some people to UAB, and then that didn't happen because, well, we'll get into why that didn't happen. But get some USF gear, get some other college gear for your loved ones this holiday season. Homefieldapparel.com, comfortable clothes, great hoodies, quarter zips. They got some blackout hats for other institutions. They're doing it big, so make sure you go check those folks out at homefieldapparel.com. All right. I'm your host, Nathan Bond. Alongside me, Seth Varnadore, Collin Sherwin, in what can be only described as, the South Florida Bulls had everything in their hands and then threw up on themselves on Saturday at Navy. Yeah, it's the only way to describe it. Collin, you got mad at me. I'll freely admit that was me who tweeted that they absolutely threw up on themselves. There's no two ways around it. And it's still accurate. The Bulls fall at Navy, crushing essentially any conference title dreams. There's 14 variables, I guess, that they could get in, but it's a super long shot. Playoff scenarios out the window. 41-38. You couldn't stop the triple. Eli Heidenreich is still running around. A catastrophic Saturday for this USF Bulls program. Collin, you were there on the ground. What the hell happened?
Meltdown. And I think I was mad that you tweeted it because I was trying to cover the game as well as I could, but I gotta say I agree with your sentiment. I may not have used the term throw up on yourself, but I do agree with the sentiment. I think this was on USF's racket. This is a game USF should have won, and they didn't. You're a double-digit favorite, and you are clearly the more talented team. And the good thing about being up there in the press box is you get the full view of all 22. That first drive down the field, man, Navy had nobody behind them. It was just man everywhere, and we have the bigger receivers and the better receivers, and it was just pick them up. If you got to put Byram on the edge, if you got to roll them out a little bit, that's fine. But guess what? Everybody downfield is open. It couldn't hit them. And then later in the game, you would see, that Navy definitely shifted their coverage a little bit, a little more safe, and it's just like you can run the ball here. We couldn't run the ball. Defensively, and Seth, I've watched the first 15 seconds of your game film breakdown because you sent it out right before we got this out here. So that's not going to do me a lot of good. But I'll tell you what it looked like from up front. It looked like, rough day for Tavin Ward. Rough day, on the touchdown, Mac Harris, just got caught in no man's land. Look in the backfield, it looked like, and got it thrown over his head. In the pivot, it seemed like guys that should be winning weren't winning. And if it's zone blocking, that's fine. Then the second level needs to be able to get there and win and fill gaps and cover. Just really slow to the edge, just super slow to the edge. Like the Navy doesn't have burners. And as far as Eli, he's now Navy's all-time leading receiver. And there were multiple throws that he had where he was literally uncovered. Not like in a zone, you know what I mean, where, okay, well, he's a little here and a little there. He's sitting down in the middle. No. He's just completely unchecked down the field. And I just don't know how that happens. This is a defense that has been so consistent and able to, make negative plays, force turnovers, do things to get off the field, especially against teams that maybe aren't as athletic as them. I just didn't do it. And then offensively, I just thought, they missed some shots. They missed some opportunities when they were on script. I don't think they necessarily took advantage of what was out there. Just a melt. And then, penalties on special teams, things that can't happen. I didn't see the salute from Amir until after. I didn't even know that happened until after the game. And I'm like, how does that happen? Like, how do you you're playing Navy. You got to have discipline. Like, that's the thing that every coach preaches when you play an academy is, yes, you must have discipline. I don't understand it. This was so out of character for this team. The Memphis loss was they were the dominant team and they kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. This was they got beat. And I don't understand. And it goes down, I think, as probably in terms of just pain, second worst loss in program history in terms of just how much it hurts, because you had it on your racket. This was finally the path. 28 years later, you finally got the path to a conference championship, and it's on your racket, and you're a double-digit favorite, and you're going to be an even bigger favorite against UAB and an even bigger favorite against Rice. You had it, and you blew it. It's a choke. There's nothing. It's just a choke. There's no other way to describe it, and it hurts. You try not to extrapolate these things too much and take too much away from it, but they had it and they blew it.
Yeah, the thing that was odd to me going back and watching it was, the scoring play. It wasn't. I think they got scored on the triple, got him once, bad for a touchdown. But you go and watch it, a lot of the times they're running triple. I'm not sure who's supposed to be, playing dive, who's playing quarterback, who's playing pitch. So usually that's pretty apparent when you watch it, right? Because you see somebody take away the dive, quarterback pulls it. There are times where they had the inside linebacker playing dive, which is not. I know some guys that play option like that, but a lot don't like playing it that way because it can be really difficult. And then you go back and watch a ton motion. Anytime Navy motioned, they were totally discombobulated on the back end. And that's where you got a lot of confusion. That's where you got guys running wide open. They just could not handle motion. And it wasn't as if, and that's the issue. That's what makes Navy tough, is because there's a lot of eye candy. There's a lot of things going on. You got to play assignment sound. You hear coaches talk about eye discipline, but a lot of the big plays were not triple option. It was quarterback counter off motion, or and then I don't know if they had to tell or something, but twice USF blitzes into counter and motion is running some type of man with the motion. So there's literally nobody left. You got two pullers back for two defenders. They block them. There's nobody left for the counter. So that happened a few times. I don't know if there's a tell, but I don't know, man. You go back and look at this. So I go back and look at game on paper because it felt like at times they were pretty good. And you look back, the success rate, according to Game on Paper for Navy's offense, was 38%, which is 28th percentile. But yards per play was 7.3, which is 86th percentile. It's just those explosives. You kept allowing those explosives, and Navy would kind of get a little bit here, a little bit there. Then you let a big one go. I thought, it sounds crazy. I was more disappointed in the offense than I was the defense. Because I don't think Navy's defense is particularly good. And I think you let them play their kind of game a little bit, especially early. You had 14 drives, I think, in this game. If I told you, we were talking about USF getting 9 drives last week and how, hey, if they get 9, they'll probably get to 40. They got 14 drives in this game. If I told you before the game they're going to have 14 drives, how many points do you think that you would have said they would score?
50 plus,
right?
Easy, probably 60.
So
maybe 60.
Easy.
Yeah.
So to me that was kind of, You didn't start fast on offense. So you didn't get Navy out of their game. If you get up, like you look like North Texas game, North Texas got up early and then got Navy out of their game, and they started turning the ball over. But if you kind of the game be played at Navy's pace, they're super comfortable doing that, and they're very good on offense, and they're very explosive. So, that's just kind of how it was. Sorry, I think you had 8 possessions how many did you have in the first half?
Hold on, I got it right here.
8. You had 8 possessions in the first half and scored 9 points.
7
or 10 points.
7 possessions with like the last one was 16 seconds.
Well, last one was like and a half. But okay, so 7
and a half. Yeah,
7.
Yeah, 7 full possessions, and you went punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, pick, turnover on downs, halftime.
Yeah.
So,
brutal.
Yeah, and just opportunities. I mean, I could see it. The opportunities that were out there, and I
thought you did enough early on defense that if your offense came to play, you could have put the game somewhat out of reach early, or made it tied it in your favor early, and you didn't take advantage. Defense was okay early.
So first 3 drives, touchdown, fumble by Navy, touchdown, punt, touchdown, field goal for Navy on their first 6 drives. They did like run away and hide early, but it was all like you said, it was explosives. It was the 74-yard run by
on 3rd and 10.
The running, yeah,
on 3rd and 10.
And that was just like, I mean, it wasn't like some crazy pitchback or some sort of wild. I just ran it right up the middle. I mean, it looked like it
was counter.
It was a counter, like just like
or maybe potentially power. It depends on how you want to categorize it, but it wasn't anything exotic.
Nothing crazy. And then the safety, and I don't know who the safety was who walked down, but some safety walked down and just like waved at him as he went by. Nothing at all. So it's rough, man. It's really rough. But the thing that blew me away was the explosives. I just did not think that you would see a backup quarterback run for 64 yards for a touchdown in a spot where you have to get a stop. And I believe that was on 3rd down too, wasn't it? Woodson's not, necessarily out there to throw the ball. How do you let him get to the edge, and how do you let him make the turn there? With literally your season on the line, and he just ran away from you. And it's like, you got the starter out of the game. Hooray. You got the backup in. Force it, put him under pressure, do whatever you have to do, but you sure as hell can't let him get to the edge and make the turn. And I don't understand. I don't understand the scheme. I don't understand. It looked like some points there were some effort problems at some points. I don't know that Seth, you can probably speak to that since you've actually watched it back in full. Did you see some effort issues out there?
No, I don't think it. To me, it looked like they were just there was too much. It felt like too much confusion for things that were just kind of simple things. Now, with the option element added to it, it makes it more complex. But it's not. It's like there were times where the one of the big throws late to Heidenreich. He just runs it's just a simple 3-man combination where he's running a corner route, and they motion a guy across to run into the flat, I believe. And your safety, that's where your one high safety comes down and plays the flat. Your outside backer plays the flat. They both let Heidenreich free release, and then Gaskin, who's playing outside backer on the other side, rotates with the motion. He's got to come all the way across the field to catch Heidenreich on a corner from like almost the line of scrimmage on the opposite side of the ball because they screwed up the rotation so bad. So you look on the film, there's 2 guys. You've got DJ Harris and Tavin Ward literally standing on top of each other at 6 yards, and then Heidenreich's at 15 over the top of everybody. I don't think they designed it with 2 guys in the flat. It's just I'm not a defensive coach, but I don't think that was the intent. So
yeah, your forte is offense. I will grant you that. So,
but I haven't seen anybody do that before. So could be
really want to make sure the flat is taken care of.
You know what? Leave the deep third open.
Yeah.
Let's really get the flat. So I don't know, man. It was, and that was just like a simple, we're motioning from a 2x2 to a 3x1. It shouldn't cause that much of a calamity. But the option stuff does make it difficult. But it was just they were so out of sorts. Just did not, and it seemed to be like I felt like the safeties in particular had a tough day, which the way they wanted to play, I think they were pretty important. But I don't know. Plan didn't see great.
Some of the post-game comments in basically how they started, how they played. Alex Golesh after on Tuesday, his comments, it leads me to believe it's not really a stretch. The moment was too big for everybody involved. Cole Best, I believe, after the game said, "Yeah, we just had some jitters early on, the moment," and it's like, dog, you played at Florida with 100,000 people. Like, what are we talking about?
And it seemed to be a pretty pro USF crowd. Like a lot of USF people seemed to be in the crowd. Like you get shots. Keyshawn Singleton's first touchdown. Everyone in the first row's arms up for a touchdown. Like it looked like there was a decent amount of people there.
And then you come in on Tuesday at the press conference, and Alex Golesh is saying, it took everybody out there on Monday to really get out there to practice. And I hear that, I'm like, oh, brother, the hangover's real. Like this, this is definitely a loss that can lead to a second loss. And
luckily you're playing UAB. So.
I was just gonna say you're playing.
I mean, Memphis got sniped by UAB, so let's not. So and. Frankly, there's quite literally nothing to play for. You're playing for pride at this point. Like you had it, and it just the moment got too big for the Bulls once again. And here's a fun little stat for you guys, and maybe we can kind of transition this into the Oklahoma State thing. Under Alex Golesh, since 2023. USF is 1-14 when trailing in the third quarter.
So I'm gonna
1-14. I shorted him a loss. 1-14 trailing after 3.
I'm gonna defend.
You gotta win one of these, man. You blow a 14-point lead, and then you do that at Navy. All right, come on.
It's unfortunate that it's such tight. If you've even said it before, Collin, if you win the Memphis game, this is like a free roll. Like it's unfortunate you basically lost both the tight games. You kind of rolled, you struck out on coin flips twice. Or if you win one of them, you're fine.
Better than coin flip. Win expectancy in both of them was over 60. So a little better.
Yeah, so the Navy one was pretty Navy's win expectancy was rather low in that game. It was statistically it was. Yeah, statistically, USF was kind of right in it, but just cannot make the kind of final plays to win it.
So I'm going to defend Golesh a little bit here on that record of 1-14 and third. First of all, let's just throw everything out from the first season and a half. Like that's just not. He inherited a grease fire, and I don't.
I mean, who has a good record when trailing in the third quarter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, and then secondly.
All right, so he's 0-8.
Okay, not great. The other one that I'll mix in there is that the way that this team plays, and I think we did see it in the fourth quarter at Navy. The amount that you're on the field, it would be nice to have a little more depth on both sides of the ball if you're going to play at this pace, because if you're just running the ones out there over and over and over. It can be really tough, and we do shift the front four, I think, a little bit more, but especially in the secondary, not a ton of trust in the backups, and I think at some point that can contribute to wearing down. So having 14 possessions can also kind of work against you when you got to be on the field that much defensively, especially in the fourth quarter. Yeah, Woodson's run, I think, could point to that as well.
Yeah, the one thing that I thought was interesting going back and rewatching the game was how often it seemed like they kept 7 men in protection and at least check released the tight end and the back. So they must have been really scared or really wary, at least, of Navy bringing pressure. And so you'll see sometimes it's 3rd and 10 and USF only has 3 guys out in the route, and Navy doesn't bring pressure, and they drop 7 guys in coverage. And it's really hard to find anywhere to go with the ball when you only have 3 guys on the route. So I thought that was interesting. And then as the game went, I thought, getting up fast, throwing it out in the perimeter and just making Navy tackle in space. I wonder if they played it again, if they kind of play a little bit more that way like they did in the second half, where it's a little bit more wide open, not as respectful, I guess, of Navy bringing pressure, and just kind of like, all right, bring pressure, we'll just solve it with, or we'll beat it with the ball. Because Byram, the big throw, he hits to Jaquan Smith. Navy brings pressure, but now you got a guy that runs a 10-100 meters one-on-one with Navy's corner. Like, you like those matchups. So, it felt like they were a little bit too respectful early. They respected the troops too much, if that's possible. But I'd be interested to see if they played them again, if they would play a little bit differently on offense, because I think that contributed to the slow start a little bit.
So I think you're right about the respect, and one of the things that I point to is that the TD from Coger to Davenport, from Davenport to Coger rather, was, you're breaking that out against Navy. You know what I mean? Like, you're that worried about Navy's ability to bring pressure that you gotta run halfback option?
What's crazy is you see the big play to Singleton on the second drive. It's just straight man. It's just, I don't even know if it's a man-to-man, but the whole thing about this offense, and I said it in the film room, the whole thing, why this Bryles offense got so popular and why it still does well, is their theory is basically deep enough down the field and wide, and if we spread you out wide enough, everything becomes a one-on-one.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're playing deep third, cover 3, all right, well, we're both 40 yards downfield, so now it's just who's got the better dude, right? Because we're both in this deep third. The throw to Singleton is just a straight go route. I don't know if he's got like a deep choice, but it's just a straight go route. The touchdown to Singleton, he wins in 15 yards, like beats the guy by 5 yards in a 15-yard window. Probably could have done that all night if you want. You know what I mean? Like, you could have probably pushed it vertical a little bit more on those corners and made them play in space a little bit. They couldn't cover you, which is, I think, the disappointing part. You basically waste 2 drives when you're down, backed up, and run, and then pass on 3rd and long. Where if you just come out firing and just, that's what I wonder, if they would be a little bit more, maybe they're a little too risk averse in the first half. And, I think you kind of got to go in the game. Now, it's hard to say, but from our perspective, I don't think any of us thought that USF's defense was just going to handle Navy's offense all game, right? I felt like it was a game you got to go in and score points. So right. I feel like they were a little risk averse early, thinking maybe the defense can keep us in it, and then they weren't able to, which, Navy's a really good offense. I don't think you're going to be able to hold them down.
And then I'm not entirely sure. Jarvis Lee just didn't play. Like, I never saw him.
No, he played.
He did not. He did?
Yes.
They didn't record a single stat. That's insane to me.
This was not a great game for him.
Okay. So
wait, hold on. So
that's how confused. Like, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he played.
That's unfortunate.
So
he's a key figure on the second touchdown drive, potentially.
Watch the film and find out.
Yeah.
And then you're also without James Chenault. So you basically, like, the guy that they literally hyped up the coming into this game, right? And it's just, you get nothing from this guy who had a stalwart performance the week before.
So Seth, you talk about that drive. You dropped it in Discord, our staff Discord, when USF got the ball back on the 3, and they went run, punt, and punted from their own 10. And that certainly, I believe there was a penalty that actually backed them up from like the 3 to like the 1.5 or something, on first down, and then they just went run, punt. And I was with you. I was like, just somebody throw a quick slant, throw an out, throw something fast, and just somebody win on the outside. You got the better guys out there. They can't cover everything. Just quick out. You take away the
make
safety.
him play. I mean, we saw the Moody Rubin touchdown. Like, he jukes the guy out of his pants twice. Almost so bad that he almost got himself tackled. Is how like he beat him so bad he thought, oh wait, I've got to have another move. I'm surely I didn't beat him this bad on the first one. And then the guy's still there from the first one, and he gets him again. It's like just make him tackle you in space. I feel like that's your advantage is make them play you in space. You've got better athletes, and then you let them kind of play in a box a lot of time.
And I think the biggest, look at that was Skinner on 4th and 1, where you just go, look, man, you have Byram Brown. Okay?
I do have
4th and 1. You're on the plus side of the field. You have Byram on 4th and 1. Just let him go do something. Like put it in your best player's hands in that spot. Or
this is a bit of hindsight 2020, and because this is not the first time they've done this. But who's the starting center?
Colbeth.
Who's the center when they go short yardage? Mike Lofton.
Is it really?
I hadn't noticed that. I hadn't noticed that.
They've done that before this year. Cole Best goes to guard. Mike Lofton comes in the center.
Interesting.
That's fascinating.
Didn't work out too well on the old guard sneak.
On the belly. They called it, coach after the game called it belly. And I
they didn't pull anybody.
Yeah.
They just got submarined. I mean, who's better to that? The Navy, right?
The Navy,
and
and the linebackers came up and absolutely annihilated Cole Skinner before he got.
So Cole's second touchdown, I think, was that Charlotte? Or...
He fumbled. Was that the one he bobbled?
I don't know, man.
The other thing on that is neither of those had been like A gap runs. So neither of those had been right behind the center. All of them had been like guard out.
Right.
Like, so this one went right up to A gap and got absolutely annihilated. So, yeah.
That's fascinating.
And this is not the first time they've done that before. So the short yardage package has been bringing in a different center, which is interesting. It did not work.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's put a bow on this horrific Navy loss. And let's transition into something more doomful. So there were reports this week, that Alex Golesh had interviewed. I got some quotes going on. Interviewed for the Oklahoma State job. It's not how any of this works. The three of us have been around long enough. We've gone through coaching cycles long enough to know that this isn't how any of this works. You saw it on, what they say, Wednesday. John Summerall just taking himself out of the Florida running because essentially he got leaked. And he doesn't, like, that's just another distraction. You saw it last year, how it kind of cratered Tulane a little bit. You can't, and they may be right. The person, Carter Cunningham of whatever site is, I forget what even said. Pistols Fire.
He was previously a TV guy out in Oklahoma City.
Yes. And I'm not, I don't want to say that he's wrong. However, I listened to that podcast. He had never mentioned once that he never reported. And I think that's what's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb for me. So he said, I reported, quote, retweeted the podcast from October 24th and quote retweeted and said, I reported on 10/24 that Golesh interviewed for the Oklahoma State job. Nowhere in that podcast does he mention that. They may have reached out, which is why I also had issues with how the question was asked on Tuesday. Alex Golesh giving himself plausible deniability. Have you interviewed? No, I haven't. That's probably not inaccurate. That's not inaccurate.
Also, if he talked to anybody, they have a search firm conducting the search. Would he be talking to the search firm and not Oklahoma State? Turnkey is conducting like Florida's search as well. So they're conducting a few of the big coaching searches. So
what search firms do is they give you plausible deniability. Also, like, it's on us here at Bay Area Examiner. Like, if we didn't go to the presser, so we didn't ask the question.
Well, we had someone there. It got asked before.
Okay.
You gotta
Well,
be
yeah,
soaked.
it got asked. Yeah. But we got to, and to the, to the kid who asked, I believe it's from the Oracle. We understand, you haven't been down, if you're at the Oracle, you haven't been down this road before. But what coaches say and the coach speak during this time of year gets real wonky. And if you ask, have you interviewed? The answer is always going to be no. Have you been offered a contract? No. Have you signed anything? No. Like there's no. But what happens is a search firm reaches out to an agent. The coach has plausible deniability. An alumni might go and feel out a coach, like somebody close to the program that's not an athletic director or somebody goes to feel out. That's how these things work. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and your coach is somewhere else. I'm not saying that's what happened here with Golesh. I don't know if there was any contact between him and Oklahoma State. I'm just saying that like we can play the semantics games. He can play the semantics games. This is a guy who certainly has played semantics games from the podium with injuries before. So like, and I it's fine. It's fine. Look, if he gets offered another opportunity somewhere else, I'm not going to blame him for leaving. He's certainly improved this program from where he found it. It does suck that we're going to come up short and have to probably click reset here and start all over in some capacity. And it's going to be really painful to like go back down and see what happens. Although if you can do it next year, would probably be the year to do it because schedule's pretty easy next year. So we got to hit click reset. Right. Schedule's a little easier next year than it was this year, that's for sure.
And anybody who's played college football 26 knows, man, there's a lot of seniors on this team. And you got
a 31?
Whole lot of bodies. So
31 seniors.
Well, that's what's been interesting. Is an old friend of the show, Bud Elliott, has been talking all year about thinking that Golesh was gone because of how much of the roster he thinks is turning over.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if he realized that Byram could potentially have another year, which I think would probably be, more important than just about anybody. But
100%.
Yeah, so that's been kind of always interesting to get somebody more outside the program's thoughts, and he's been kind of banging that drum all year.
I also had somebody send me our current our high school recruiting numbers, and they were less than enthused. Somebody who, is in the recruiting space more than I am. I can't really speak to that, but, we're Stieg when we need him.
They're fine.
Yeah, look,
they do have a guy who just
they had a ton of commitments, but they're starting to lose some guys now to bigger programs,
which is kind of part.
It's going to happen.
I mean, even Jeff Scott, he was able to recruit pretty well early on, and then just guys started kind of getting picked off from the top. It's kind of happening. Happened last year with Golesh. Happened the year before. Like it's just one of those things. Right. I think we'll see the influx of like these guys are going to get these jobs sooner and sooner, and basically like the premise of Carson's like whole thesis of why you may see it happen sooner with Golesh is correct. There's really nothing for USF to play for anymore. So yeah, there is. It's not as icky for Golesh to leave earlier than maybe it was previous.
And if Summerall ends up at LSU, like that could get real wonky. And if Lane is going to LSU or Gainesville, that could get super gross because they're going to be could be knee deep in they're going to be in January, and like, doctor, that could just get nasty. Yeah. So I'm not Golesh has done wonders for this program. We are way ahead. The other thing that I've noticed, and this is probably where to talk about it. I traveled with this team for a long time, from 2000, I guess 2002, 2003 until like 2000, 19, 20. I was going to most of the games, sometimes as a fan, sometimes as media. And then I hadn't really traveled with the team because of my previous job. I really couldn't. I go to maybe 1 or 2 games a year and just follow along on TV. You travel with them now, just the actual physical size of the amount of people that are on staff and traveling with this team is light years ahead of what it was just 6 and 7 years ago, 5 and 6 years ago. And that's where the investment in this program shows up. Like, I'm on my plane, and there's USF staffers that don't make the charter because they don't have enough seats on this oversized charter that they have now paid for, that are flying on my flight to get to the game because they don't have enough places to put their own people to get to these things. The amount of infrastructure that has grown under Golesh, and this wasn't the case under Scott from what I've been told, but the amount of infrastructure that we've added to the program is something that, as a testament to the growth of where we're going to be. And that's why I feel, even if we do lose Alex, that we'll be okay in the long run, because we're investing like a big boy program. We're investing like a P5 program, P4 program. And I feel good about that for the future, no matter what happens here. And I believe too, by the way, if Golesh leaves, I think he owes us like a lot of money. We could use that money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to go. I definitely want him to stay. I think consistency and learning from what, this year has been would be good for the program in the long run. But if he does go, we're not back to square one. That's for sure. It might be square 2 or 3, but it definitely won't be square one.
Yeah. All right. We do have to talk about the game on Saturday for like 2 seconds.
Could I share this tweet with you guys real quick?
Oh, look at this.
Yes.
Is this is his account, correct? Not like a burner?
That is Rob.
Yeah.
That is indeed Rob.
So a tweet says, Coach Golesh's representatives and I continue to have a lot of great conversations, and both they and Coach Golesh know how fully invested we are in his long-term future at USF. We won't discuss the details of those conversations publicly. We all appreciate how totally locked in Coach Golesh has stayed on our program and student athletes throughout the season, despite what a lot of the false reports that continue to circulate online suggest. Go Bulls. Thoughts on that? Coming out publicly and
he didn't. A lot of words, but maybe not necessarily anything that we didn't already know. Like, he's not saying we got a deal.
Deflection.
He's not saying a little bit. Maybe just rah for the guy here. They got 2 more weeks of football they're trying to stay focused for. Right?
Just a little bit of like Three Stooges, hand here.
Silence everything. Go ahead.
I said a little bit of Three Stooges, hand up here.
Seth, you're muted there, buddy.
Slap coming in here. Am I muted?
Or am I?
No. Colin's internet's trash. It's not me this time.
All right.
How do I have bad internet? Buddy, you've been cutting it down on me all night and a little fuzzy. So I'm gonna say
maybe it's you, bud.
Yeah, you. Possible.
All right. You wanted to move on to UAB, Nathan?
Yeah, for the love of God. UAB 3-7, 1-5 in the conference, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. After a stretch of, I believe it was 6 straight nationally televised games. You're on the Plus and you're relegated for the rest of the year. Congratulations.
Now, is it possible to get is the Plus on YouTube TV now? Is that what the new deal was? You can get the Plus on YouTube TV or no?
It's possible.
I thought there was something with the ESPN.
Yeah, the ESPN Unlimited thing or something like that. Yeah, we'll see. I guess just get closer to 3,000, 1,000 for Byram, win the game, I guess. That's all
Yeah, we're going to go over it in the Ponderosa here, but this UAB defense is one of the worst in the country at every. They're not particularly good at anything. So this should be one. Offensively, you go roll, and then I think the defense will be fine against a more conventional offense. They do run the ball pretty well and have a pretty good running back. Javon Jackson has over 700 yards, I believe. He's pretty good, but when they're their explosives are nothing, it seems like when they're not explosive, they're not very good.
Right.
They're probably, it looks like they might dink and dunk a ton in the passing game, but I think USF's kind of equipped to play a team. This is probably somewhat similar to UTSA offensively, but with more motions and shifts, which, maybe that'll be an issue after last week, but I would expect them not to put up much of a fight, and USF's offense should be just about able to name their number. UAB sees the fewest passes of any defense in the country. Only sees 23 a game. But they are maybe because they are 116th in rushing success rate allowed. So, and 109th in passing success rate allowed, 118th in overall success rate allowed, 127th in every EPA measure. So, pretty bad.
That's something. Checking the number here. I saw it open 19.5, got that at the 20.5 pretty quick. 21.5 across the board now. So the money is definitely coming in on Los Toros, but the total, what do you think the total is, boys?
Oh, I think I saw it earlier. It's like
68.5.
Mid to low 60s.
70.
Oh, is it?
Big number. Big number. Opened, hold on. Opened 69.5. So it opened there and it stayed there. You can find some 69.5s in the streets as well, but there are 70s out there for sure. A lot of points. Not a lot of faith in the Bulls defense out there in the community, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens here, but 70, that's a big number. So projected on that's going to be like what, 40, 46,
USF team total on
46-24-ish, something like that.
Yeah, USF team total on over 46.5 is minus 110 at DraftKings.
44.5 on Hard Rock.
Oh, there we go, boys.
Spot for your over right there.
44.5 is minus 145 on DraftKings. So,
oh wow,
there you go. USF team total over 44.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. This is just such a bad spot, like terrible spot, not a spot that's replicated often. You could see USF really rally with all of these seniors and come together and play really well. You could see UAB continue to play above where they were with Dilfer was their coach, because they've done that pretty consistently of late.
I think here's my play.
Okay.
USF minus 7.5 second half.
Why would you believe in this USF team in the second half against a good opponent?
They'll be hungover. They'll start slow.
Because it's UAB.
First half hangover.
I think it's like a 10-point game in the first half. Yeah, and then you win by 30.
I hope you're right.
Give me the USF if we're making our picks. Give me the USF team total over. They just crush bad defenses. And if your offense is any good, that just means more possessions for USF's offense. So give me the total team USF team total over 44.5. If that's what we're getting in Hard Rock, I'll take it. UAB lost last week 53-24 against North Texas.
A very similar team to USF in how they move the ball around the field. That's for sure. So, I'd certainly USF to win, but in terms of betting value, I would probably stay away here. This just seems like a bad spot. As a bettor, we like things that we can project out and control, and this is not a game that you can do a lot of project out and control on.
Tennessee scored 56 against UAB earlier this year. If you're looking for schematic similarity,
can we? I think we can talk about volleyball now, right? Can we talk about a good thing? Your beloved USF volleyball team is hosting a conference tournament for the first time. It will be their first postseason game played on campus since the 1996 NCAA tournament. They will play in the Corral 8-team tournament. Don't know why it was 8 this year. I think it was 6 last year, and they went to 8 this year. Not sure how that happened. The Bulls are the 2 seed. They open, I believe it's Temple, 5:00 on Friday. If they win, they'll play on Saturday, and if they win, they will play for the conference championship on Sunday on their home floor. Rice is the 1 seed in the tournament. They swept the Bulls during the regular season. They are the 1 seed for a reason. USF didn't play their best volleyball down the stretch, but home court tends to do a lot of good things, and this is a chance for a volleyball team to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2002. keep in mind that for a very, very long stretch here, there was no volleyball tournament. That the AAC went away from that for multiple reasons. So it's not like they've been bricking conference tournaments every year. Still a very, very slim outside shot that they could get in at large as well. But a couple of losses down the stretch probably put that out of reach. They do have some quality wins on the schedule, especially from the early season conference play or out of conference play. They played real well. So if you can get to the Corral this weekend, it should be loud, and I am very excited. And yeah, I was going to go to Birmingham. I was fired. I'd booked my hotel. I hadn't booked my flight yet, but I booked my hotel. And I canceled it because of the chance to watch, if it comes down to covering USF games, I would, let's go see if the football team unfortunately doesn't really have much of a path at this point to the postseason. Let's cover the Bulls team that does have a path to the postseason, and that is the beloved volleyball team. So what do you got here, Coach? Nate showing us his camera here. Let's go come to the Bay. Oh, Alex Golesh tweeting.
That is Alex Golesh quoting Rob Higgins' tweet. So,
wow, that's big right there.
Didn't say stay in the Bay. Wrong hashtag.
The Horns up typically there's a lot come to the Bay, and the Horns there's usually a commitment. So reading the tea leaves, extension coming soon.
That's true. He committed. That's his own commitment. Horns up in himself.
That's his.
It's the bat signal.
I don't want to read too much into this, but those are two tweets that were certainly sent with intention. So yeah, we'll see. It sounds like let's hope so. Let's hope that Golesh stays one more year and then we can run this back. And
I can't believe the Wi-Fi on his plane to Stillwater is so good that he can send that tweet.
Do you got my FOIA, the extension now? I'll get it in the next 4 months, or
start early.
Real quick, guys, we are on 19 of me requesting the Rob Higgins contract and the Derek Brooks contract. The Oracle already got it, but hey, still waiting for ours. 3 emails later, still nothing. So hopefully it'll show up in the inbox any day now.
It sounds like they reward the outlets that have to ask the tough questions, so we'll have to start doing that.
Yeah, right.
I don't think Alex Golesh has ever asked the Oracle.
They got to Nathan.
They got to Nathan.
They didn't want. They knew.
Too much complaining. He's complaining about my internet. I think it was his internet the entire time. You've looked fine the entire time since it's been him who's been cutting in and out on me.
I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but it very well may have been. So
Nate's internet again the issue.
Notorious.
Notorious. Can't have a Pod by the BAE without it. So we do know Rob's making $850, but that's all we know at this point. And that was just published by the Oracle. Seems perfectly fair compensation to me. And we'll see.
You got to entice somebody to take the job.
I don't think I don't know how much enticing was done there. I think there were certainly a quality list of candidates who wanted this job, who saw the potential.
I'm just saying, if he's your guy, you've got to,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to compensate him well. This isn't something you want to. He had a pretty good job already, so it's not like hey, come take a discount.
No, for sure. And I don't know what he was making at the county. I looked and it was but this is definitely more than he was making with the county. But the county job is also one of the safest positions out there. Whereas obviously working in college athletics is much, much, much more volatile in terms of job security and things like that. So that's why people who are on contracts people who are in contracts tend to get paid more than people on salary.
I just want to end here with in our Discord, Crawford0577 was one of the greatest comments ever. He said Golesh's tweet is in reference to the Oklahoma State basketball comeback that's happening right now. So
Oh,
if you're interested in more insight like that, join our Discord, and you can join us on Patreon at Patreon/The Bay Area Examiner. Thank you guys for listening. Go Bulls.
go Bulls.